See, we are firemen. I know a lawyer said to me one day, he said, I feel like I'm always putting out fires. And then he said, but that's what we are. We're firemen. We're helping people put out emergencies in their life and bring a solution and bring peace.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Free Lawyer. I'm glad you're with me today. So let's get started. 5 a.m. Your alarm jolts you awake. As you reach to silence it, your mind is already racing with today's motions. That terribly difficult client meeting and the stack of papers waiting on your desk. Does that sound familiar? After 4 decades in litigation, I've lived this reality where our legal training to spot problems actually becomes the problem. What if I told you that the most powerful tool for transforming your law practice is not another legal strategy or another time management system, but something much simpler, yet profoundly more effective? Today, we're going to talk about gratitude. Gratitude, yes, how gratitude can be the game changer in your legal career. I've seen it work in my own practice, and I've seen it work with so many attorneys I've coached. So stay with me as we explore how this overlooked practice can reduce burnout, improve client relationships, and actually make you a better lawyer. I started this podcast in February 22. This is episode 305. It's amazing. But I did it because I wanted to help and support you to become a better lawyer, to enjoy your practice more, to find success, to find fulfillment. I've spent many years in the trenches, and I've had some amazing experiences. I've had some terrible disappointments. And I've learned that gratitude is the answer. So if you like what you hear today, click the follow button and sign up for a free coaching session with me. The link is in the notes. So let's get started with the content. We know how difficult our practice is. The ABA reports that 28% of lawyers experience depression, 19% suffer from anxiety, and 25% to a third have chronic substance abuse problems. Pretty amazing. And you may know our suicide rates are one of the highest in any profession. It's pretty scary. And we know why that is, don't we? We know how challenging our practice is. We have demanding partners. We have clients who expect to have all their work done immediately, and all of our clients expect that, and that's not possible. We have terribly difficult billing requirements. And sadly, I've seen a greater challenge in how we lawyers interact with each other. Instead of making our lives easier, we're there to take advantage of mistakes, be difficult, be demanding. All of those things combine to make our practice terribly difficult. And I know when I managed our firm, which I did in Maryland for about 30 years, I found it so difficult to balance the demands of running a business with the challenges of a very active litigation practice. And I've learned that for me, gratitude is not just a personal virtue. It's not just something you do to be happy with your family. It's a professional tool. And how does gratitude help us? Reduces those terrible cortisol levels, which help us to manage the high stress environment we're in. We sleep better when we live in gratitude. We feel at peace. And I have specific gratitude practices that I use at night to help me sleep better. Our brains work better. And we're more effective in more difficult cases. There's a real connection between gratitude and the relationships we have with other people in our life, both professionally and not. I remember this terribly difficult divorce case I had. My client was going against his wife, who was incredibly wealthy, with all the resources of a very wealthy family behind her, and they played hardball. They got the most difficult lawyer in town, the one that no one wanted to have. And he was just incorrigible. And I had to realize that I had to look at it as grateful, not being mad because this lawyer was He was the only lawyer who called me a liar twice in open court, completely without foundation. But I had to practice gratitude with that case. Grateful that I could help my client who was really undermanned and overwhelmed and help him get to a better place. Grateful that I was given the tools of patience and acceptance to deal with that really difficult lawyer. And the case ended up quite well. We had a good result. It was one of the most challenging and frustrating cases that I had. But the only way I got through it was through gratitude. And trust me, it will help you with the stress you face today, too. So I'm going to give you some practices that can really help. The first is a morning power routine. Let's begin by identifying each morning. Take about 5 minutes to do this. Think of 3 clients you have who are particularly challenging, and think about the value you can bring to them, the way you can help them, the way you can serve them, understanding they're challenging, but knowing what their challenges are. See, we are firemen. I know a lawyer said to me one day, he said, I feel like I'm always putting out fires. And then he said, but that's what we are. We're firemen. We're helping people put out emergencies in their life and bring a solution and bring peace. So think about those clients and how you can bring value to them. And think about how grateful you are to be able to help and serve them. Then think about your team. Who do you appreciate on your team? Think about one particular person that you can express your appreciation to today, and reflect on your professional growth. Think about the skills you want to grow and to develop, and write them down. Write down where you want to grow and how you want to get better. And I know that I find if I spend these 5 minutes each morning just reflecting about the skills that I have, the abilities I have to help my clients, to support my team, and to grow and be a better lawyer, I'm in a better place. And then throughout your day, I want you to take several breaks. During the morning, mid-morning, after you worked hard for 2 hours, um, you know, take a reset. Take just a 3-breath reset between complicated matters or between client meetings. Take some time to keep track. I want you to keep a wins journal and keep track during the day of anything that happened that you would consider a small win. A favorable ruling from the court, a nice email from a client, an opposing counsel who said, sure, I'll agree to that. Some cooperative response from a lawyer, or maybe a really difficult situation that you handled well, and document them. And then think about what strategies you've used that were effective. And if you take that time to reset and to document some of the things that went well so far that day, you will be in a better place. I remember one time I had a really difficult negotiation. We were in a difficult mediation. My client had unreasonable expectations. The other lawyer was so aggressive. I felt like the mediator wasn't here from us. And I took time to just take a reset and to be grateful for the fact that I had the skill and the experience and the wisdom and the training to help navigate that difficult situation. And it didn't take away the difficult situation, but it put me in a better place to manage it. And then think about your end of the day, how you're going to handle that. I'd like to have a closing ritual, a closing practice every day. Think about 3 tasks you did that day that were good to have done, 3 things you accomplished, and write them down. Think of them. And then think about what you can do tomorrow to support some of your team members who are really working hard, how you can be the best partner to them in your practice. Think about some outcomes for your clients that were really good. And if you record those things in your wins journal, you will feel so much better. And I don't know if you ever felt this way, but I don't know how often I came home from work. I was frustrated and I was stressed because I had plans about what I was going to get done that day, and it didn't happen. I don't know what happened. I don't know where my time went, but it didn't go where I wanted it to. And I was so frustrated and stressed when I got home, and my family didn't deserve that. So this closing ritual of thinking about 3 tasks you've completed, thinking about the progress you made on long-term cases, thinking of some things you can do to help and support your team members, and thinking about some outcomes for your clients that were positive, and actually literally writing them down, you will be in a much better place because you will see the wins that you had that day. And how do these practices help you during the day? You'll find you have stronger client relationships. Why? Because the difficult clients, you'll accept them as being what they are. You'll be grateful for your opportunity to help them, and you'll manage your relationships with them much better, and you will be much more attractive to your other clients. Your referrals will increase. Your team will appreciate you. They will be loyal to you. They will be responsive. You will feel so much less stress. Your decision making will be clearer, and you'll find a deeper meaning in what you do beyond billable hours. How often do we focus on how many hours we build that day? And that's just such a frustrating and empty metric. But when you think about how you helped your clients, how you appreciated your team, how you had some nice outcomes, all of a sudden, your practice has more meaning to you. And I know that I've found when I bring gratitude to my practice, it makes a difference. I remember this divorce case with this one woman who had very little income. She was an incredible mom to 4 daughters. Her husband had deserted her. And I approached her just with a sense of being grateful that I was given the opportunity to help and support her. And when that case was over, she sent me the most kind, heartfelt note that created a measure of fulfillment that I carried with me, a long time. So how do we start doing this? How do we start bringing gratitude into our practice? So let me begin by suggesting you start small. I gave you a morning, during the day, and end of day practice, but just start small. Pick one practice that you use for 30 days and start writing some things in your journal and create triggers of things that you can feel, grateful for during your day. So let me just say one thing. This, gratitude isn't about saying all of our problems will go away, because they won't. Your practice will still be difficult. It'll still be challenging. The same issues of billable hours and difficult attorneys and demanding clients and partners who may expect so much and not express it, they'll still be there. But it's about how you can gain perspective in what you do and how you can realize that while everything in your practice isn't perfect, indeed it might be quite challenging, by your utilizing gratitude, you can really bring some peace and some success and some fulfillment. So as we close, I want to share something personal. I spent 40 years as a litigator, and I won cases I never thought I won. I built a successful firm, and I mentored a lot of attorneys. But the greatest achievement I had was not winning that sexual harassment case where I got punitive damages or winning that string of trucking cases. It was finding freedom within my practice through gratitude. We entered this profession to make a difference, didn't we? To fight for justice, help people through their darkest moments, whatever it might be. But somewhere between billing targets and demanding partners and clients, we lost that purpose. And that's why I talk to so many lawyers who are burned out and frustrated. I've been there, standing in a courthouse after winning everything from my client, but still feeling empty inside. Gratitude isn't just a nice idea. It's a bridge back to what matters. It won't make your opposing counsel less difficult. It won't reduce your caseload, or make that judge who seems so difficult more reasonable. But it will transform how you experience those challenges. The beauty of gratitude is it's always available to you. It's available to you before your next client call, before you pick up that next difficult file, before that deposition with that really difficult lawyer, or after one of those tough, stressful days in court. And it's not only always available, but it costs you nothing, but it yields extraordinary returns in your practice, in your relationships, and in your life. So tonight, before you close your briefcase, take just 30 seconds to write down one moment, just one matter from today that really counted, one small victory, one interaction that reminded you This is why I became a lawyer. Then watch what happens when you do this for a month, a week, a year. So this is Gary Miles reminding you that the path to becoming a truly free lawyer begins with gratitude. Until next week, may you find not just success, but deep, deep satisfaction in the noble work that you do every day. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, please be well, be safe, and be free.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.garymiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.